I'll record and now I'll share that. Okay. And there we go. All right. Can you hear me okay? All right. Tonight we are going to talk about the ways to enhance the body's detoxification system. So, this is, we recommend the liver cleanse, doing that spring and fall. But every day of the year, you can, do some of these practices to help, the body's natural detoxification system. So we'll be going through sleeping, fasting, exercise, sweating, breathing, waste elimination, foods, dry brushing, and then getting the body, the nervous system into the parasympathetic side. So, starting with sleep. So there's 4 stages of sleep, or really, um, REM sleep and non-REM sleep and REM sleep. And we go through this cycle, all 4 stages, 5 or 6 times a night, hopefully. And it takes about an hour and a half to go through each cycle. So you can see the first stage here is, we don't have rapid eye movement and we're just lightly asleep. And then each stage gets a little deeper. And then this third stage of non-REM sleep is the deepest. And this is actually where the brain detoxes. So the blood vessels of the brain shrink, and then that opens up this space for the cerebral spinal fluid to come in and basically washes the brain. So it removes toxins. It's called the glymphatic system, which is similar to the lymphatic system that we're going to talk about, which helps to remove toxins from the rest of the body. But the glymphatic system helps to detox the brain. And then we go into this REM sleep, which is where we're dreaming. And then we go back through this cycle. And like it says over here, a good night's sleep consists of 5 or 6 cycles. But if you're not sleeping soundly, your sleep is disturbed, you won't go through all those cycles. And then you don't get as much of this natural detoxification of the brain. And here is a study showing that when sleep is deprived, the active process of the glymphatic system does not have time to perform that function. So toxins can build up and the effects will become apparent in cognitive abilities, behavior, and judgment. So it is super important to sleep soundly. And some people, think, well, I sleep, I fall asleep just fine. But what's really key to solid sleep is that melatonin, that sleep hormone. Here it shows just, through different stages of our life, we require different amounts of sleep, quite a bit as we're born, and then less as we're older. And I don't know for sure if this, a little less sleep compared to up to 65 years of age, or if this is just what happens because as we get older, we do sleep less, we have less melatonin production, which we'll talk about. And so here's that melatonin hormone. And at the very top, it says it's made, if you can see that, by 240 to 300 nanometer UV light. So light, and that's not in the visible spectrum, that's UV, we can't see with our eyes. But so we know melatonin as the hormone of darkness, prepares for sleep, increases cell repair and regeneration, that, called apoptosis and oh my gosh, apoptosis and autophagy. Autophagy is cell repair and maintenance. So melatonin helps that. And that's what the body is doing overnight, is it's repairing, regenerating, because during the day, the body's being torn down from all of our activity. And at nighttime is when the body, repairs and regenerates and detoxes. So, but we need lots of melatonin. We need to preserve our melatonin for that to be the case. Here it says reduces energy production in our mitochondria, which is really, it makes our energy production in those mitochondria more efficient, melatonin does. It's a major antioxidant, so it's a scavenger of free radicals. I know we've talked about that before. It lowers estrogen. Estrogen is, what makes us unhealthy when we have too much of it and causes fat gain. So having high levels of melatonin helps to prevent that. It helps stimulate the immune system. These T lymphocytes are, are increased with high melatonin, and that's part of the circadian rhythm too, which is this last key here, key substance for chronobiological adaptation, which is the light and dark, the night and day, summer, winter. So it's a key component, melatonin is, to our circadian rhythms, that 24-hour light and dark cycle. Here's those mitochondria that I just mentioned. This is what produces our energy, that ATP. There's also some free radicals, that's oxidative stress that's created. And so melatonin helps keep the mitochondria here making energy efficiently. It scavenges these excessive free radicals. So it's super helpful, melatonin is, in producing energy, reducing oxidative stress, allowing the body to regenerate and heal overnight, that cell repair and maintenance. And then you can see here too, here's melatonin in this, the breakdown of these amino acids. It's actually made from serotonin, and serotonin is made from the amino acid, which is a protein. Tryptophan, which is an aromatic amino acid, meaning it absorbs UV light. So the way we make serotonin that's then later converted into melatonin is to get out in the sunlight. This tryptophan, this amino acid, absorbs UV light, and then serotonin is made from that. So when we go back to this slide, and it's showing that it's made from melatonin, or it's made from this UV light, we don't have strong UV light in our environment here in the winter, which is why you've heard of SAD, seasonal affective disorder, that depression that happens in the winter time. And that's because we don't have as much of that UV light available to make serotonin. So we're depressed. We don't feel as, lively. And so that's important. And then you can see here too, these other amino acids, or aromatic amino acids, help to make thyroid hormone. So light is a key component to, overall health. You can see over here, here's melanin, dopamine, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. So lots of, precursors. These are precursors to these hormones, these neurotransmitters. And so getting out in the sunlight is key to actually sleeping soundly, and so detoxing the brain at night. Here's what I mentioned about melatonin declining as we age. And because melatonin is converted in the pineal gland, part of this may be that, as we age, we don't get outside in the sunlight as much, but it's also, all the fluoridation that we've had in our water for years now causes calcification of the pineal gland. So it could be that, that's contributing to the reduction in melatonin for older people. So here is what sunlight looks like. Natural sunlight is, full spectrum, pretty balanced between, on this side is UV that we can't see, and on this side is infrared that we can't see, but it's pretty balanced from blue to red. Today, however, we spend all of our time under LEDs and fluorescents. Not so many people have these incandescent light bulbs anymore. And you can see that it's not very balanced. There's huge spikes of, blue and green in these, and very little of that healing red like there was in the incandescent bulbs. And the reason that's important to you've heard this, is those LEDs and fluorescents, because of that blue and green light, suppresses melatonin. It's sending the signal to the brain through the eye that there's blue light, and blue light's, in sunlight, but it's always balanced by red. Our computers, our TVs, our cell phones all have a lot of blue light. And so being on those screens throughout the day, or watching TV before bed, being on, an iPad, reading your iPad on your iPad at night, causes this suppression of melatonin, which then reduces all those functions that we just described, the antioxidant, anti-aging, anti-tumoral, energy balance, sleep, weight. It protects your reproductive organs and your immune system because of, that T cell production again. So lots of reasons to block this blue light. And here are some headlines from some different articles about how, we know blue light is damaging. Damages your skin, increases your risk of cancer, obesity, uveal melanoma, blindness, you name it. It's not good for us. So daytime, you want to wear some of these yellow tinted glasses. Nighttime, really should be wearing these blue ones. I mean, sorry, blue ones, orange or red. And actually, our friends in Hudson they told me today that they've got a sale on their red tinted glasses. So I'll include that for everyone in the next email. There's a 30% discount through the end of this month. So I have to put these back on because these are my prescription cheaters. So blocking blue light after the sun goes down helps to produce that melatonin. You can see in this, circadian secretion of hormones here, peak hormone timing, melatonin kicks in a couple hours after darkness. But if you've got the TV on, your computer, whatever screen on until the moment you close your eyes, it's going to be hours later before melatonin and all those benefits kick in, that deep sleep and ability for your brain to detoxify. So getting out in the sun first thing in the morning, that's raises cortisol so that you feel energetic and you get up and get going. And then after the sun goes down, you put on those blue blocking glasses so melatonin can start to be converted from that serotonin that was made from early morning sunlight. You can see here too, there's lots of other hormones that are very circadian. Thyroid, we talked about needing that UV light. And then light is not the only cue to the body as to what time it is, and helping to preserve melatonin and this rhythm that's dictated by the light and dark cycle. So every cell in the body has clock genes, and the master clock is behind the eye here in the brain. So it detects light and determines what time of the day it is, what function is it time to perform. But also the timing of food and exercise contributes. It's another cue as to what time of the day it is. So exercise is usually stimulating and creates cortisol, which at nighttime is supposed to be really low so that your body can relax and go to sleep. So you don't want to exercise too late in the day. And same with food intake. Having a meal or eating too close to bedtime, diverts all of your energy to digesting and processing that food, and not repair and regeneration again, and sleeping. So you want to make sure to exercise before evening. You want to be done eating 3 hours before bed, and really should be done eating before it's dark out. So shortening your feeding window to within daylight hours, and that's going to help to optimize, preserve not just melatonin, but preserve the body's energy so it can be used for repair, regeneration, and detoxification. So here's how to optimize sleep. So getting out in the morning sunlight to produce that serotonin, which is later going to be converted into melatonin. Continue to step outside to entrain your circadian clock, get that light in the eyes, no glasses. Just expose the eye to some light so it can kind of, tell the brain what time of the day it is, and then block blue light with either some glasses like this. This is the $10 UVEX glasses that sometimes this is what I'll do. I'll have these on with my other little cheaters. Just stack the glasses up here. And whatever it takes. And you also want to cover up your skin because there's receptors for blue light in your skin, in your fat, and in your arteries. So, you wouldn't want to, be in a tank top in front of the TV or with your LED or fluorescent lights on. Normally at this time of night, we'd have no lights on in here except for the red incandescent bulbs, one of those. Limit your caffeine or quit it entirely. And go to bed and rise at the same time. So that helps to, keep your hormones being secreted at the same time every day. It just creates that rhythm of, breaking down and repairing all of that cycle. Have a wind down routine at nighttime so that you're, not creating cortisol. You're not watching maybe debate might be too stimulating like it was last time, or, a scary movie or something that gets you all amped up. That's cortisol, which is supposed to be really low at nighttime. Melatonin is supposed to be high. And then also, create a sleep sanctuary that's dark and cool and quiet. All right, so sleep is major. And then this is fasting. So we touched on it just a little bit, that circadian rhythm. What they're finding is shortening that feeding window. There's some studies out there that showing that, taking two groups of mice, one group is allowed to eat over 24 hours. They just, graze over 24 hours. Another group of mice eat the exact same food and the exact amount of food, and it's actually a standard American diet. They're only allowed to eat for 8 hours of the day. These mice are lean and healthy. These ones are fat and sick. Even though they ate the same exact thing, it was just the timing, the feeding window was shrunk to only 8 hours a day. So fasting doesn't have to be, days at a time that you go without food. It could be every single day, you stop eating by 6 o'clock and you don't eat again till the next day until 8 o'clock. So what's that? That's 14 hours. That's, 14, 16 hours is a great amount of time to give your body time to be repairing, replacing cells, and not using energy to digest food. So fasting is another way to allow the body to detox, and two, going hungry when you're, allow yourself to, not eat in between meals. Maybe, they talk about one meal or just 2 meals a day, and then, going for hours in between, or even allowing yourself to get hungry. The body starts to break down or cells that aren't so healthy. So, we don't have to eat 6 small meals a day. We don't have to be eating all day long. That's actually, causes inflammation, causes cortisol to rise. So shortening the feeding window, giving your body lots of time where it's not digesting and processing food. And then there's exercise, and it doesn't have to be intense exercise. There's, what it does is it helps, to get your blood and heart pumping. So you're, bringing in oxygen, blood's pumping, and that movement of the muscles helps to move the lymph. The lymph is part of the circulatory system, but it doesn't have the ability to pump. It can't move itself. So we need to exercise to have those muscles contracting to move the lymph in the lymphatic system. Increases lung capacity, enhances digestion, causes perspiration, which is another way to detox, decreases fat storage, which is where toxins are stored. And it can just be gentle, yoga or on a rebounder, one of those little trampolines, just stretching. Massage is a way to, get the lymph moving as well. And so that's what we have for exercise. I don't think I have too much more there. Okay, and then sweating, we mentioned that. Definitely the body, reduces toxins out through the skin in sweating. So whether it's a traditional sauna, steam sauna, or infrared sauna, it helps to, build heat, create perspiration, which then helps the body to detox through those pores. And deep breathing helps to remove toxins from the lungs, carbon monoxide, but it also helps to transport vitamins and nutrients and minerals throughout the body when, again, you're breathing. Deep breathing helps to expand the lungs, helps, again, bringing in oxygen, taking away not monoxide, it should be carbon dioxide. Promotes the creation of white blood cells, which is part of that immune system again. And it sends this message to a deep inhale with a longer exhale sends a message to the nervous system that you're safe. When you're stressed out, that is a way to tell the nervous system that I'm okay, I'm safe, a long exhale. And then, yes, massages, that expansion of the lungs helps to massage the lymphatic system too and move those toxins through the lymphatic system. And then regular bowel movements, every day there should be, we should have 2 to 3 bowel movements every day. And that's if your gut's healthy and you're eating lots of fiber, less, processed, low fiber foods, drinking plenty of water. You know, eating fermented foods or taking some probiotics helps to keep the gut bacteria healthy and moving things out. Exercise, you know, twisting poses like some different yoga poses are help stimulate circulation in the digestive system and get things moving as well. And then the squatty potty too, which is has been around for a few years. It just, you know, puts you in the position that helps to straighten out your colon and allow for elimination. One other thing that I didn't put in here is in the last video, I talked about glyphosate, the herbicide that's sprayed on a lot of our foods. And Dr. Stephanie Senoff, who is a PhD researcher that does a lot of research on glyphosate and autism, actually, she talks about taking at least like 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar each day to help remove that glyphosate. And in that talk too, I think I talked about how glyphosate, it's not only a chelator, it removes calcium and magnesium and other heavy metals from your body, which we need. And then also it's an antibacterial, antibiotic, so it kills some bacteria. And there's certain bacteria that serotonin, well, if we go back to that slide, tryptophan, which is that amino acid, is what, you know, is the precursor to serotonin. And a lot of that tryptophan is made from our gut bacteria. And if glyphosate wipes out those gut bacteria, you're not able to make as much serotonin, which not only leads to depression, but it leads to constipation, because serotonin is useful in gut motility. So, you know, all this stuff is always, you know, it's all works together. So that's one of the things we talked about, is eliminating, you know, those processed foods that most likely have glyphosate, you know, the GMO foods. And we talked about that, the corn, the soy, the wheat, and some other GMO foods. But anyway, so just one more thing I forgot to add in here was that, you know, a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And I think on the Facebook group, and maybe I'll just post it again. I mean, that I make a little concoction natural detox every day, which is just hot water with a half a lemon. I peel some ginger and slice that up, put that in there. And then I put the 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and I sip on that in the morning. And then when the water's gone, I just add in some more hot water and sip on that throughout the day. And that's when we get to, oh, here's the stool chart. So you want to be, you know, a 3 or a 4. And my experience with this liver cleanse is by the time you're done, I was at a 4, and that was several times a day. So that's because of the gut healing supplements that are in this, in that shake. And then providing all the nutrients, the, you know, it's pre and probiotics in there as well. So hopefully you get to that place, and you know, that's supposed to be normal. It's not these other far extremes of that chart. And then here's some of the foods that there's different lists. Lemons, I know, is always on the list. Ginger. You know, let's see, what garlic is always on there. The greens, turmeric, watercress, artichokes, asparagus. So lots of different natural foods that help to, you know, help with the liver, help to detoxify the body. So you can always come back and look at this. And then, you know, I think on the Facebook group too, I've already got another list or so of foods that are helpful with detox. Cilantro, I don't see on there, but cilantro is helpful, binds to metals as well. And then this is dry brushing. So dry brushing helps to get the lymph going. Actually, here's the next slide. Oh no, here, the benefits of dry brushing: removes toxins, exfoliates the skin, increases circulation, digestion, hormone balance, reduces cellulite, and treats those little, you know, those little bumps, that keratosis pilaris. And here's the lymphatic system. So it's, I was going to read just a little bit about it here. Let's see. Getting rid of toxic matter that accumulates in the body is one of the most important ways to stay healthy. So the human body consists of many organs and glands that are supposed to excrete toxins from the body. This system of organs and glands is called the lymphatic system. Unfortunately, the lymphatic system is likely to get clogged and does not function properly in most people. It's part of the circulatory system and a crucial part of the immune system. It consists of the glands, lymph nodes, the spleen, the thymus gland, and tonsils. The functions are to remove interstitial fluid, absorbs and transports fatty acids from the digestive system, transports white blood cells to and from the lymph nodes into the bones, transports antigen presenting cells such as other immune responsible cells. And when it gets out of balance due to nutrient deficiencies, which is why you're taking lots of minerals and vitamins with this cleanse too, when you're eating processed foods and lack of physical activity, can lead to arthritis, skin conditions, digestive disorders, headaches, sinus infections, unexplained injuries, excess weight, and chronic fatigue. So it doesn't have its own active pumping system, and that's why movement, breathing, intestinal activity, and muscle action creates the flow that pushes the toxins out of the body. So ways to help is exercise, acupuncture. Hot and cold showers help with the lymphatic system because it causes constriction and expansion, and then that helps to push the toxins through the lymph system. Dry brushing, drinking clean water, avoiding wearing tight clothes because that causes constriction. Deep breathing, and then eating foods that promote lymph flow, which is kind of what we talked about, and then avoiding processed foods and sugars. So that's the lymph system, and in the brain, it's called the glymphatic system. And then the last thing we're going to talk about, which is necessary in order for the body to detox, is to be in the rest and digest, the parasympathetic side of the nervous system. This zebra being chased by the lion, that zebra's body is not concerned about detoxification or reproduction or digestion or repair. It's only necessary process right now is pumping blood and oxygen to the extremities so that it can flee or fight. So it's the same for us. We can't be in fight or flight and expect the body to heal or to detox. So we have to get into that parasympathetic, the safe and social side of the nervous system. And I've got a few slides here. There's lots of ways, bottom up that we can do that. Some of that, we just mentioned massage, acupuncture, cold therapy, fasting, yoga, deep breathing. Look at that. All these things here, help to send the message to the nervous system that it's safe, and then it can go ahead and detox and repair. The top-down approaches are, more of these, psychotherapy, but some of those laughing, practicing forgiveness and gratitude, meditation. There's lots of ways to address the nervous system, and we talk about this a lot because it is the body wants to be healthy. The body knows how to be healthy. It just, you have to remove what's interfering with the body's ability to heal, and that is stress. Whether it's, chemical, physical, or emotional, the body, any of those stressors are a threat to survival, and then the body is not in that, healing side. It's not able to detox and repair and regenerate when it's in fight or flight. So any practice, that you can do to, continually get your nervous system into that parasympathetic side is going to actually help you to detox on a regular basis as well. So that's super important. And that's all I have for tonight. We're next going to talk about, how to make this detox lifestyle stick, what you can do to, get into these habits and maintain these habits. So, whoops, that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I took notes, and so I will probably do a little bit more online research because I've always meant to learn a bit more about the parasympathetic.
Uh-huh.
I think they talk about it, the chiropractor as well.
Yes.
And so, it's just one of those things that have been sticking out there that I haven't looked into yet. But that and deep breathing, I
Yeah.
know that deep breathing is super important, and I have no idea how to do that really, other than to just like breathe in and take a deep breath and then exhale. But there
Yeah.
might be better practice to it
Yeah.
than that.
There are some breathing practices you can find online. I think the main thing is, we typically breathe really shallow. We don't fill the belly and then the chest and then all the way up, to the clavicle. It's just pretty shallow. So, really starting to, practice feeling the belly fill up and then fill all the way up and then reversing that. And just two, being mindful, just paying attention to the breath, because usually it's, our thoughts that take us out of safety. It's like, oh my gosh, that bill's due, or oh my gosh, I've got that project due, or whatever. And it's, just a thought can put us into fight or flight. So that's a perfect time to go, okay, either practicing gratitude, go, okay, I'm not going to go down that path. I'm going to list 3 things that I'm grateful for, or I'm just going to take a deep inhale, fill the belly and the chest, and then I'm going to exhale longer and slower. And, just repeating that until you feel that cortisol, leaving the body from that stressful thought. So yeah, you'll be able to find lots of places online, lots of breathing practices. But it's really just that simple. Like when you notice you're stressed, you just pay attention to your breath. Fill the belly and the lungs and then reverse that. So yeah, but I do think that's the key to health right there, is to get into that rest and digest side of the nervous system. And we've talked about that too, how, past traumas, childhood experiences lead to a maladaptive nervous system that, you're not really aware of. It's subconscious, that your nervous system, because of childhood experiences, got, set on high alert. It's like you could never really just fully relax. And so the nervous system got set on kind of cruise control. And then it doesn't leave you much room before you're, over the top, over, your threshold of tolerance, because you're already, hovering here. And this is a lot of people. And it usually stems from, just experiences in childhood. When the brain and the nervous system are developing, it just gets set to cruise control. So yeah, that'll be great. And you'll have these slides. When I send this out, you can, look at these slides again and see if there's any information there that would be helpful. But otherwise, the Facebook, you're maybe not on the Facebook group, but maybe I'll post that little detox elixir too on the email that I send out. So not everyone has
Oh,
to
yeah,
on the Facebook group.
sure.
Okay, well, anything else you can think of?
I don't think so. There's something in my head but I didn't write it down in my notes. So there was something way in the beginning, but now I can't remember it. So
Okay.
if I come up with it, I'll just send you an email.
Okay, well, there's a lot of stuff about circadian rhythms, and that's super important too. But yeah, it's, just getting that right too, getting out in the sun in the morning and putting blue blockers on after the sun goes down is just one huge thing that you can do for your health right there. And I think you said you got some glasses, so.
I did. I have some red ones.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to ask, so as far as this sunlight thing,
Mhm.
um, so it's getting dark before 7 o'clock. I don't go to bed till 10.
Yeah.
I haven't been putting on my glasses till about 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's too late, but I don't do it right when it gets dark, and then pretty soon it's gonna be 5:30 when it's dark. I mean, are we supposed to be wearing them at 5:30? I mean, who goes to bed at
I
7?
know. I
Nobody.
know. Well, in the winter, that would be more natural, that we spend more time sleeping because we have a, longer dark cycle.
Mhm.
It's not practical for everyone. But yeah, I would say put them on after the sun goes down, and just, I don't know if you've noticed how, a couple hours later, you're like, whoa, I'm tired, and that's what you want, because then you've got high levels of melatonin kicking in. And I would try to shift to getting, to bed earlier, if you can, if, you can get kids to go to bed earlier, that kind of thing. So we're really designed evolutionarily wise to spend more time resting and restoring and recovering in the longer dark cycle of winter. So yeah, it doesn't really match our modern, lifestyle, but again, that's contributing a lot to our chronic illness. Is we don't live in nature by nature's rules anymore. We created our own, and it's not optimal for our health. So
No.
anytime you can kind of shift back to normal, it's going to be better for your health. So try putting them on earlier and just see what happens. See if you don't get really tired before 10 o'clock. If you put them on, like by 7,
Mm-hmm.
see what happens. If you notice a difference.
Okay,
But,
I will try that.
yeah, it's hard in the winter when it's dark at like 4:30.
Right.
So
What
yeah.
about in the morning? So if like right now, I don't think the sun rises until 7:30, and like I'm up at 6 in the morning sometimes, so there's zero light. So
Well, so I will put my blue blocking glasses on in the morning and also until I get
oh,
outside. And I try not to turn on any lights. I don't turn on my phone. I don't turn on a TV. So I try to minimize my exposure to artificial light until I've gotten outside, which is, 7:30 or a little later before the sun's up. So I try to let that be the first light that my eyes see is, natural sunlight. Even if it's cloudy, the sun's still there. It's just not as bright. But I want to make sure my clock gets set every day, rather than, if you turn on your phone, that's telling the brain it's noon already, according to the spectrum of light that's in a cell phone. Not the spectrum, but the illumination, what is it? I can't think of the word, but it's yeah, it's the same color temperature as the noonday sun. That's what it is.
okay.
So I don't want to risk that. I want to just try to stay as regulated as possible, because I want to feel good and I want to sleep well. And so I'll put my glasses on and do what I need to, walk around and stumble around in the dark here in the morning until I get outside.
Okay.
I know. Oh, well, it's what I do. So
No, if it works, if you can do it
yeah.
and it makes you feel better, I mean, I would love to be able to do that. I can't really with 2 children and a dog, but
Oh, I know. It's not
Mhm,
easy for everyone, but
mhm.
as I always say, if you do what everyone else does, you're going to be sick like everyone else is. And
I know.
we were at this meeting today, and he was talking about, every genius out there too was a little different, was, a little strange. They weren't normal, but that's because, they were geniuses. And so I'm like, well, I don't care what people think. So I'm going to do what I've learned works best for me. And
Mhm.
other people can do whatever they find to be best for them, but if it's different, that's fine. So you do what you got to do, and you do what you can, especially if you find value in it and you feel better. That's the biggest motivating factor, is you feel better, and so
Right.
you make an effort to do it. And sometimes, until you feel that benefit, there just isn't the motivation to get there. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about next time too, the habits and motivation, and sticking with some of those habits.
Okay.
So
And then that'll be next Thursday as well, right?
yeah, probably Thursday. I
Okay.
was going to try to check in with everyone and see where they're at tomorrow. And I just can't do Wednesdays, but I could maybe do Tuesday if people are wrapping up. Maybe I'll do Tuesday, because well, you're halfway done. So yeah, you still have another week. I think most people have, most of next week to go yet. So
Okay.
all righty, I'll send out an email and let you know for sure what time, what day.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.